Welcome to Litbit channel. Today we will see the origin and growth of the heroic tragedy. Break down the origin and the growth of heroic tragedy step by step. Heroic tragedy as a form of drama drew a lot from epic poetry. If you think of a great epic poems like Homer's Iliad and Virgil and yet they are big heroic stories with the gods larger than life character and grandeur themes like honor, sacrifice and love. The playwright of heroic tragedy wanted to create something similar but in the form of the play. John Dryden's a key features in heroic tragedy described as it's the imitations in little and heroic poems. This means that the story in heroic tragedies were inspired by epics but present through actions and dialogue instead of the narrator driven styles of an epic poem. Next one, emphasis on exaggerations and the improbable. In both epic poetry and heroic tragedy, things are often exaggerated and pushed beyond what's realistic. For example, characters might be superhumans doing things that are impossible. Event may seem exaggerated or even improbable. Then this idea is created a larger than life spectacles of the audience. In heroic tragedy, playwrights have more freedom to use fantastical or supernatural elements. Some things they wouldn't be acceptable in traditional tragedies. For example, the god of magical events might happen to increase the drama. This style was justified by ancient critical doctrine that allowed the uses of the improbables for dramatic purpose. This gives the playwright a great liberty of fancy, meaning they can imagine things that stretch beyond the believable. The magnifications of a reality. One of the key features of heroic tragedy is the magnification of a reality. What this means is that the character, events, and even the language in heroic tragedy are elevated to extraordinary levels. The play doesn't show regular everyday life, instead, it creates a world that is much grander, more intense, and nobler than what we experience in real life. This was appealing to the restoration audience who were looking for drama, excitement, and something romanticized and escape from their everyday, often difficult lives. The emergence of an epical style. The style of heroic tragedy matches the grand nature of the content. The dialogue in these plays is formal, elevated, and often ornate. Instead of using ordinary everyday speech, the playwright used figurative and eloquent language to express the grand ideas like honor, sacrifice, and love. The idea is that these big important themes need to be spoken about in the way sublimity, they need to sound just as magnificent as a subject matter. Cultural context and popularity. Heroic tragedy became popular during the Restoration period in 1660 1685, which was a time of cultural change in England. Before the Restoration, England had experienced this strict Puritan control under Oliver Cromwell, which was very focused on restraints and simplicity in art and literatures, but after the monarchy was restored, people wanted escape and excitement. Heroic tragedy offered exactly that. It provided a way to celebrate grand ideas like heroism and love, while also offering a romanticizing versions of history and myth. The play were full of spectacles which appealed to the Restoration audience who were eager for dramatic, larger than life entertainment. In conclusion part, in summary, heroic tragedy grew out of the epic traditions, but it adapted those epic qualities into a form that could be performed on stage. It was about creating a grand, elevated world with larger than life character and improbable events. It gives the audience something to escape to, romanticizing stories of heroism, supernatural elements, and dramatic language. The genre flourished because it reflected the tastes and desire of the Restoration periods, and it allowed audience to experience a more romantic and exciting version of reality. Let's recall this chapter. How does heroic tragedy cater to the Restoration audience? Heroic tragedy appealed to the Restoration audience by offering exciting romantic stories with a larger than life character, which helped them escape the more serious and controlled atmosphere of earlier times. What is mean greatness and mystery of a heroic poem? This refers to the grand and notable nature of a heroic tragedy, which portrays characters and events in the way that makes them appear more majestic and idealized, just like an epic poem. The next one, what is Dryden views on the uses of improbability in heroic tragedy? Dryden believes that it's acceptable to use improbable events in heroic tragedy, just like in epic poems, to make the story more dramatic and romantic. Then, what makes the style of heroic tragedy epical? The epical styles come from the uses of grand, figurative language and elevated dialogues, which makes the play feel like an epic poems with notable character and themes. What is the role of the plot in heroic tragedy? The plot is meant to show extraordinary events and characters that are more dramatic and grand than normal life. It aligned with the play's elevated themes. The next one, what are the main emotional elements in heroic tragedy? The play focuses on big, intense emotions like love, honor, and sacrifice, often taking them to an exaggerated heroic level. Then, how does heroic tragedy satisfy the craving for romance of the Restoration audience? By portraying dramatic love stories with idealized character and grand themes, heroic tragedy provides an escape into a romantic and heroic world. Next one, what is the primary difference in how epic poetry and heroic tragedy convey their themes? While epic poetry uses narrations, heroic tragedy brings its grand themes to life through actions and dialogues on stage, making the story feel more immediate and lively. The next one, what kind of reality does heroic tragedy present? Heroic tragedy presents a magnified versions of reality, which everything is bigger, more dramatic, and more idealized to emphasize the noble, heroic, and romantic. Thank you viewers. Thanks for watching this video.